almost there. Got that.
I almost bought some Fiji water today.
That's Fiji. Oh man, it's good
No,
stuff.
it's just I was gonna buy a bottle of Fiji water and try it out today, but it's like I'm not gonna pay the price for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, looks like we're live. So we are live now, guys. This is Indie Talk with Jesse and Jeryn. And then a short few minutes, we will have former AWA WWE star Tom Rocky Stones. So we're gonna do a little pre-show. That's kind of been our thing for a bit, just to talk about what's going on and go from there. So I'll take it to give it over to Jesse.
All right, so everyone, as you know, we have Tom Rocky Stone coming on in a few minutes. In your comments and questions, don't ask him about today's wrestling because he does not keep up with the product today. But if you want to ask some questions about the AWA, NWA, WWF, try keep it in that era. We need to be respectful of Tom's wishes too, because he doesn't watch today's product. So please just keep that in mind. Well, the AWF had a show this weekend.
Yeah, that went looked like it went pretty good. And Indulging Disorderly got some good shots from that, and Petey Brown got his ponytail ripped off. So
way to go, JJ Rogue. Why would you cut a man's piece of his legacy off? That's like Petey taking a Rogue suitcase and opening up and throwing all that money around.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's it's a part of his identity, guys, and the program might have taken it a little too far this time. I don't know. We've been trying to get with the program, but I don't know, the ponytail thing, that's it's a bit much. I don't know if we can be doing that.
Well, I hope JJ either gets an Indie Talk shirt or a Bullet Club shirt.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But anyway, we should give a shout out to Nick Nelson, who defeated Bill Williams. I don't know if he did it on his own or if there was some help, but from what I've seen, there was help from the rest of the program. But if you notice in one of the pictures, Petey Brown was standing behind Stonehenge. Wonder what that was all about.
Oh, that is true.
I wonder if Petey's going to the dark side now.
Yeah, I could. I don't, unless Stonehenge is with Petey or something. Because I mean, Stonehenge said he's got no problem with Petey, but I don't. It seems like everybody else does. So I don't know.
We'll have to figure out what's going on. We may have to get Petey back on down and figure out if he's still the man child or if he is growing up now and gone with the program. We'll find out. But speaking of the program, we're gonna go ahead and start off with our wrestlers of the week, and one of those for the second time, and this is Nick Nelson's second week as Indie Talk wrestler. I'm gonna be inducting all the members of the program in to Indie Talk's Wrestling of the Week, and that includes JJ Rogue. After he kind of yelled at me in the messenger, he's like, "You're forgetting about me."
Yeah, I know.
Now JJ has to buy an Indie Talk shirt.
Yeah. And my pick will be AWF first pro wrestling battleground wrestler and tag team with Scott Story, I'm gonna go with Sebastian Taylor. So those are our picks of the week, the program altogether, and Sebastian Taylor. So
Second
yeah.
time for the program, one time for JJ Rhodes. So they'll be
Mm,
definitely going into our little spin the wheel battle royal to see who's going to be the
mm.
superstar of the year.
Yeah, there we go.
When in January, I think we'll do that. Um, we should mention too, October shows are starting next week. I think Saturday is the first.
That wait,
Yeah.
Saturday or Tuesday?
Yeah, I think Saturday is the first.
Oh, the 1st of October. Oh, I thought you meant our first show. I'm like, wait a minute.
No, we're in this thing. We gotta be close, hitting the close to 100 shows now.
Yeah, I think we're almost 80 now, or almost there. I have to check again, but we got to
So
do a special or something.
yeah, I think we're gonna come up with something for a year special. Speaking of October, we are gonna in October we're gonna start going back to Wednesday nights and Friday nights. So Wednesday and Fridays will be our show times. Still working on the Halloween special. I've been talking with X, and he thinks he can do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, before we bring Tom back on, I was talking to Dustin from Bullybrand today, and I kind of bounced an idea off of him with the addition to Wrestler of the Week. We're gonna do a Pit Bull of the Week, and I don't know how it's gonna work out yet. If Dustin's gonna send like a picture or something that we can post onto the Indie Talk page with information on how for people to adopt the dogs that we have for Pit of the Week. So, I mean, there's still some groundwork to do with it. I mean, at some point, I'd like to bring Dustin back on and talk to him about it. He would probably have more information on where people could do this and that. And how many Indie Talk shirts do we have sold now?
I think we're still at that 6 mark. We've sold 6 total shirts. So our goal is to sell 70 more, 75 total. So
anybody that wants Indie Talk shirt, right here, they're real comfortable. Get with Bullybrand. I don't know if he'll come down in price or not. That would be something that me and Jeryn would have to talk to him about. But I get with Mr. Bullybrand on that, and he'll set you up right. Most people have them. I think Ryan has one. The Summit has one.
But they got 2, one for each, but
yeah. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that are interested in them, but I don't know. Maybe we'll have to get Ghetto Gear Solid to buy one.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Dustin, he said eventually he'll give me some shirts to sell when I'm at shows alone. So maybe we'll get that rolling, and I'll have a couple shirts on hand. But yeah, and if you guys want to get it right now, we got pretty much in every post, every promotional post where we say like, hey, this date we got a wrestler. Usually towards the bottom, we got instructions on how to buy a shirt, and all just boils down to sending $25 to Dustin of the Bullybrand on Cashapp, and he'll send that, and then when he's ready, he'll start sending shirts out. So.
And definitely October 7th, if anyone's down at the Male Civic Center and wants information on a shirt, you can contact me and Jeryn at the show. We're both going to be at that show. We'll get you all set up, and any any amount that you guys spend on these shirts are $25 right now. So any amount that you spend on them, it goes for home in the pit bulls or whatever else they need.
Yeah.
So
And
Pete King, you
so
better buy one.
Pete King, All Out Pro Wrestling owner, giving us a hard time since his little character change with Matthias, but
He's
I'm sure.
He's actually been pretty good with me.
Yeah. I don't know about me. He's like, get him on the show, make a figure of Matthias and everything. So yeah.
He's excited about Ghetto Gear Solid, but I don't know. Pete might have to go to bed early that night since it's going to be a explicit show.
Yeah. That's true. Oh man. Yeah. But yeah, let's not keep Tom waiting. We actually got him in the waiting room right now. So
We're in
are you all set?
going on.
You all ready?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let's admit Mr. Tom Rocky Stone.
Let's give him a cool introduction.
Oh yeah. All right. Looks like. All right. Oh, I should message him quick.
Oh, he left.
He time out.
Tom left.
Oh, he might have to come back in. I don't know. I've never left someone in the waiting room that long, so I don't know if it times out or if you left or not. But yeah.
Come on, Tom, come back. We need you back. Without further ado, McCart.
Something to like for tonight. I wonder if you.
Hopefully
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. All right, he's here.
All right, good.
John Cena.
Yeah, I don't think Cena will ever come to Indie Talk. Nor Tito Santana. $400 for Tito.
Yeah. All right, you there, Tom? We're currently live. I think your audio's off again. Darn tech issues.
Now it should be working.
Hey,
yeah. So yeah, let's do a little reintroduction, guys. We're live right now. Just got done with the pre-show. So this is Indie Talk with Jesse and Jeryn, featuring former AWA WWE star Tom Rocky Stone. How's it going, Tom?
Going good. I'm glad to be here with you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome to get you on. Glad Jesse was able to reach out to you. So it's to be a fun night. Yeah,
looking forward to it.
Good.
Yeah. And yeah, it's in the comments, guys. If you got any questions, we got Tom on. Just finished the pre-show, so if you guys got any comments or questions, we'll get those answered. So I think to start out on my questions list, just talk about how you got into watching wrestling.
I got into watching wrestling because my dad was the ring announcer in Milwaukee, Rockford, and Green Bay for Vern.
Oh, okay.
And so he started getting me free tickets, and I became a heel fan where I would wear Nick and Ray t-shirts, and basically I was a heel from the day one. And then I became the bell and timekeeper, and then I had decided to get into the business, and with some help from Frank Hill, ended up being on St. Louis TV and then Minneapolis TV, and then ending up going to Kansas City for a half a year, and then going down to Louisiana for a year and working for Bill Watts, and planned to go to Portland, but decided I would take the summer off. And I called Wally, and Wally said, do you got room for me for the summer? And Wally said, sure. So I gave my notice to Bill and got back here, called Wally, and he said, oh, I'm sorry, we're all full. So I quit the business for 2 years. And then one day Jake, the milkman Milliman, called me and said, we're going to Vegas. Why don't you start wrestling again? So I did, and then ended up getting in with the WWF, and we were flying between the AWA and WF TVs. They didn't know they were flying us back and forth, but so that's basically, I got started. My first match was in St. Louis at Wrestling with the Chase. I wrestled two young guys, Dan Diamond and Gary Young, and they literally beat the shit out of me. And I mean, they wouldn't let me grab a hold. They just walk away. And the St. Louis ring at the Chase was as hard as the concrete in the road. It was just miserable. And after I got back upstairs, Pat O'Connor said, you got Bruiser Brody on the next tape.
Ooh.
And this was before Bruiser Brody had gallbladder surgery and he lost. He was like, had a V shape and he was huge. And that was kind of scary because he said to me, he said before the match, he said, in case I'm not able to afterwards, let me thank you now. Okay, two little guys just beat the crap out of me. And Brody's thanking me now. So it was a little intimidating, but they were trying to get you to quit. I mean, that was the goal back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's it kind of goes both ways, but like the horse wrestlers want you to quit because they don't want you to make it. But then again, like wrestlers want you to quit because I mean, wrestling's hard. They want to see if you got what it takes, I'm assuming. So
right, that's what they wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They wanted to, you had to pay your dues. So I did.
Yeah.
And then Frank got me to Minneapolis TV. And I actually worked, the first time I went there, I worked with Greg and Vern. It was the only time they teamed up on TV. It was myself and Herman Schaefer against Greg and Vern.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah. Oh, okay. Jesse.
So what was it like working for Vern Gagne in the AWA?
They always treated me good. They paid me good. I worked probably like once a weekend. And you could make anywhere from 100 to 300, which back in 1979 was for some people a week's pay. It was it was a way better part-time job than working at 7-Eleven for $6 an hour.
Right.
And I got to work with all the top guys. And I mean, I worked with like 35 world champions. So it was a great deal. We loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always, anytime you get in the ring with like a big time guy, it's got to be cool, especially the first time. And then 35 guys, that's definitely really cool.
Well, it depended though how they looked at you.
That's
right?
true.
I mean, if they were afraid of what you might or might not do, they would just beat the hell out of you.
Right.
Yeah.
But if they knew you could work, then you could go have matches. I mean, hell, Nick Bockwinkel would let me actually cover him on TV. Jim Brunzell let me give him a pile driver on TV. Vernon wasn't real happy with that one. But
yeah,
the guys would let me work because they knew I could work.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was hearing, I looked at your book a little bit. It sounded like Vern wasn't the most happy about you doing that and doing stuff that maybe a jobber shouldn't do or anything. Was there like a little heat between you guys before?
No, there was never any heat. I mean, one day he was mad at me. I was working with Ken Patera, and I gave Ken a flying mare, and I didn't lock my hands. And Vern was screaming at me in the back afterwards. You know, he's an Olympic athlete. You got to fucking lock your hands. And Patera is sitting doing this behind him, trying to make me laugh. And so I never had any heat with Vern. I mean.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I was booking a lot of the job guys for him. They would call me and say, we need 8 guys or 4 guys or 6 guys. I mean, I was booking all the guys to Vegas. So I didn't have any heat with them. And they treated me fine. They gave me a lot of work. I couldn't complain.
Yeah, that's definitely awesome to hear. And speaking of reaching out to guys, you were you trained the Texas Hangman and Bull Payne.
Mm.
What was your training style when you trained them, and how did you get them and involved in wrestling?
Well, we ran local shows in Milwaukee, and just through word of mouth, they wanted to come down and learn. And Jake Milliman helped me train them guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was also, the Texas Hangman, there have actually been 4 Texas Hangmen. There's Mike Madigan, or Mike Moran is his real name. There's Frank Veazey, who became Bull Payne.
Mhm.
Then there was Tom Benninghouse from Sheboygan, who ended up being part of the Texas Hangman, and what were they called? They were in WCW as something, as Mean Mike and Tough Tom. During the 90s, they were actually under contract there. And then Steve Butler, a local guy, went to Japan once as a hangman with Mike.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's 4 of them. Wow. So I didn't know that. I saw the book. I mean, saw the Texas Hangman. I think I've heard of the name before. I just never knew that there was 4 of them. So that's definitely
In fact,
interesting.
Steve Butler on that trip, they came back on Christmas Day. He had $1,200 in his pocket. He went to get a Coke at a Coke machine in Bayview and got robbed of the whole $1,200.
Oh,
Poor guy.
yeah.
So he went there for 10 days and made nothing.
Oh man, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, wrestlers, you gotta, especially back in the day, like we've heard stories with or not, well, we've talked with Eddie Sharkey about how guys and wrestlers needed to like stick together, and wrestlers or fans would try to attack wrestlers and kind of, I guess, wouldn't treat them the best as if they would now, and kind of had to be careful back then.
Yeah, I didn't see it. It wasn't that bad up here in the AWA. It was terrible down in Louisiana. Louisiana, they would cut your tires on your car, especially if you were like in a feud with Junkyard Dog. You did not want to park your car anywhere because they would slit your tires in a heartbeat.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. JYD is probably one of the most popular wrestlers back then. So yeah, but it's good that it was a lot safer in the AWA up north. So that's definitely a good thing.
And that's not to say stuff didn't happen up here, but it wasn't nearly what it was down south.
Or not, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Jesse?
So who was your first opponent in the WWF when you started going there?
What was the question?
Who was your first opponent in the WWF when you went there?
I have no idea.
No idea.
None whatsoever.
That's okay.
I mean, I see stuff now on YouTube, but I don't even remember working the guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I had so many matches, and by that time, it was just a part-time job for me. I was booking all the guys, and I was getting paid for that, so I was making a ton of money for their 2-day TV trips. But who I worked with, I really didn't care.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just saw on YouTube quick that Jerry said you talked, or there's a YouTube video that said you talked about your first match at the Chase in St. Louis, but oh wait, is that WW? That was your first match, not WWF match. Okay, so I was just curious about if there was anything, but yeah, it looked like you definitely worked a lot of guys in the WWF, and obviously getting to the WWF doing like anything is definitely really cool. So
yeah, and they were booking me on house shows too, so I was, I had the best of both worlds. I was working for both the AWA and them for 3-4 years. And, so I was working every weekend. I had no complaints.
Oh,
and I had it, all the AWA guys who were in New York and all the Louisiana guys, they would have matches with me. Some of the guys I didn't know, like Bret Hart, they were more difficult.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I hear that about Brett too, that he was a difficult worker to work with.
Yeah, he talks on his podcast, or I've seen him cry about Goldberg kicking him in the head. Well, he almost broke my neck one night with his pile driver. So to say he never hurt anyone, he's a liar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Brett, I mean, especially with the screw job and everything going on, there's definitely, he definitely seemed like he wasn't the best to work with, but I mean, probably sometimes here and there, but I mean. But
again, you have to give the guys some leeway because their livelihood depended on being able to work. And if they don't know you, they're out there to protect themselves too. So in that, I understand it. But I mean, I could have matches with, Jake Roberts and JYD and all the guys from Minneapolis who were there because they all knew me.
Yeah, definitely. Well, looks like we're getting some Facebook comments. Someone who we just had on the show last Friday now, Dr. Darren Davis, he's asking, he says, could you ask him about the AWA Team Challenge Series?
It was a joke. It ended up the final match being Jake and myself and a kid by the name of Todd Becker. This was before everyone was doing three-way matches. Me and Jake had no idea how to do it. And after the match, we got our asses chewed because we didn't do it the way they wanted, but no one gave us any direction. It was a joke. Jake's still waiting to get the $1 million.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke, but that was when we were basically done. I mean, the AWA was basically over at that point.
Oh, toward the end.
Why would you get to the final match and have Jake Milliman, Tom Stone, and Todd Becker when you had team captain Larry Zabisco and I don't know who the other one was, Sergeant Slaughter, who was my team captain? Why wouldn't you put those guys in the final match? Made no sense.
Yeah, that's true.
But we did what we were told to do.
Yeah. Okay. And oh boy, we got our good buddy, All Pro Wrestling independent promoter Pete King says, "Come on, Jeryn, get your head together." I'm trying, man. I've only screwed up a few times. I'm getting there, but
at least he's not me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, start attacking Jesse over here.
Leave me out.
Oh man. But now he's saying P King's asking now, Tom, have you heard of the Pillars of Power, Jim Gagnon?
Nope, never heard of him.
Oh, okay. And Darren Davis is saying Slaughter and the Baron were the other two captains. That's right. You were just saying. So yeah.
Slaughter was my captain and Zabisco was Jake's. So I guess Baron was Todd Becker's, but
okay. Yeah. All right, thanks for the comment there, Darren.
Yes, thanks, Darren. And Pete.
And Pete. Well, Pete's not even giving good questions.
Get your head in the game.
Yeah. Jesse?
This team, I'm gonna have to agree with Tom. I think that that team challenge series was a joke. I mean, I didn't fully understand the point system. How did that all work?
I don't know. I went up there and did the matches I was told to do. And the interviews, the few interviews they had me do, I just did what I was told. I mean, there was no one keeping score or anything. At least not that I know of.
Well, it's kind of funny, not mean cut you off or anything, but every time they go on the commercial break, they come up with like Larry's Legends has 5 points, Baron's team has 2, and Sergeant Slaughter has 3. I mean, I was like, what in the world? When did wrestling start keeping score?
Well, they were just trying to do something different than because they couldn't compete with New York anymore. So they were just trying to come up with some angle to maybe get people to watch.
Yeah. It's like karate. You got the point system when you hit them.
Don't get started with karate, otherwise So Fresh will show up and start talking Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah, Cobra Kai Karate Kid. There you go. Oh, that's not it. Yeah. So I was reading a part of your book, and you put a quote / story in there about from a former ECW star and now current WWE trainer Steve Corino. What does Steve Corino mean to you?
Well, he wrote the foreword to the book.
Yep.
And back in 2012, January of 2012, I had heart surgery. And I actually wrestled Corino for my last match in I think it was November of 2012. And unfortunately, I had cataracts and I broke his nose, and
I remember
I knocked his tooth out. It was not pretty. But we had become friends over the years. He was working for a local guy in Milwaukee, and he would come down and he came down the first time and did like a symposium for the boys. They paid to get his knowledge. And I went to it and sat in the crowd, and we became friends. That's all it was.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely really cool. Yeah, obviously Steve Corino followed a little bit of his career. He's helped a lot of the new guys, still helping the new guys as a WWE trainer. So that's definitely really cool. So yeah. Guys, Facebook or Instagram, if you got any more comments or questions, make sure you keep it in the AWA days or early WWF. But if you guys got anything, we've only got a few comments, so let's try to get a little more in there. Yes,
let's get it going.
Yeah. What is your favorite food?
You gotta be kidding me.
I mean, you throw in some random stuff in there just to see. I mean, it wasn't in your book, so
no.
You gotta see.
My favorite food is probably an In-N-Out burger. Unfortunately, I live in Milwaukee, and I only can do it when I'm on the West Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Or just a regular food, probably pizza, like everybody else.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely good. You gotta throw in some random stuff just to see how it goes, but yeah. Jesse?
So actually, Tom, I got something real fun for you. Many years ago, there was a outdoor show in Rochester, Minnesota, and you were on the show. Frankie DeValco was on the show.
Yep, I remember it. Adnan was there.
And Steve Corino. I
didn't know Steve Corino at the time.
Yeah. And I remember seeing when the ring announcer announced you, I was like, I remember that guy, and everyone was like, wow, because no one knew that I remembered who you were, and I was telling
you were old, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a good show. It was a fun show.
Yeah. In the comments here, Darren Davis is asking, Tom, did you beat Jake Roberts in the he's asking, Tom, did you beat Jake Roberts one time in the WWF?
Yes, and it actually ended up in the magazine. It was a disqualification. The match is on YouTube. It was when Jake had been blinded by somebody, and he only had one eye. And he asked to work me because I had worked Jake probably 20 times down in Louisiana when he had a broken arm. So he knew he could trust me. And in fact, after my 20 matches with him, he worked with Tank Patton and re-broke the arm. So
Uh-oh. Rebroke. Yeah. It's definitely kind of pretty scary. Yeah, I just looked at YouTube. There's a few matches on there. So if you guys want to check it out, it'd be pretty cool to check out. So yeah. What is a good wrestling story that you have?
you want a wrestling story or a road story?
Oh.
I'll give you probably the best road story. Junkyard Dog and I used to travel a lot together in Louisiana. And one night we were in Chula, Mississippi after the match. And we would come back from either Greenville or Greenwood, I believe. And JYD said, go in the store there and get us some beer and sodas and, get something to eat. So I went in the store. Well, he didn't tell me we were in a part of Chula that no white man stopped in. This was the Deep South. So I'm at the counter getting my stuff, and I turn around and I'm surrounded by 7 or 8 very large black gentlemen who didn't think I should be in their store. And JYD waited just long enough before he came waltzing in the door and put his arm around me. And then, of course, I was best of friends with everybody. But needless to say, the car probably didn't smell real good the rest of the way home.
There you go.
Another good road story. Again, this happened in Louisiana with the Freebirds. This was after they had put Buddy Roberts with them. And we were in Shreveport, and Bill Watts said, Buddy, why don't you fly to New Orleans with me? So he said, can you guys take my bag? So the Freebirds took his bag. They found some roadkill, and they put it in his bag. And then they put the bag out by the pool in Baton Rouge for a day. This is 95 degrees and humid. And so we got to New Orleans that night, and they gave Buddy his bag, and Buddy opens it up, and we're all passing out in the dressing room. I mean, his ring gear and his bag reeked. I mean, not just reeked. Most people would vomit from it. Well, he just put the clothes on and walked down the aisle. And people were actually passing out on the way to the ring.
Oh man, there you go. 95 degrees. Jesus.
Another story in New Orleans. There was a lady who used to sit in the front row. And we would spend the entire match, every headlock, every armbar, we were in her corner of the ring. Because every week she forgot to wear her panties. She wore a dress. So I don't know if anyone else figured out why all the matches took place in one corner of the ring in New Orleans, but they did.
Oh man, there you go. Yeah, definitely got to get it.
I'll tell you an AWA story.
All right.
At the end of Billy Robinson's time up here, when they had turned him heel, and I was wrestling him in Rockford, and Jake was with me. And I got ready to go to the ring, and I walked up to Billy, and I said, Billy, I got to ask you one question. How come when you were a babyface, you were such a prick? And I turned and I went to the ring. Jake goes, why did you do that? I said, let's see what he'll do. He made me look like Billy Robinson for 20 minutes. He made me look like a world champion. But I had no idea what he'd do. But
yeah, there you go. Yeah. Jesse?
So what was your favorite match in the AWA?
Favorite match? I don't know. There were a lot of them. I mean, I like working with Martel. I guess working with Heenan. I had Heenan, I think, might have been Fond du Lac. And we found out Bobby could not go down. You couldn't pull Bobby's hair because I was a heel just like he was, right? So I still wanted to wrestle as a heel. And we got in a top wrist lock, and I tried to take him down by the hair. All the big flying bumps he took, he didn't know how to sit down.
Like Bobby.
My worst match was also in Fond du Lac, and that was me and Baron. That was a terrible match. I assumed he was an old timer, and I was going to let him lead.
Mhm.
He was assuming I knew what I did, and he was going to let me lead. So we went 20 minutes,
Oh, man.
nobody leading,
Mm.
and it was awful.
Oh man, there you go. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, actually, Baron, during our little pre-show, you were just talking about an independent show. I forgot where in Minnesota it was. Oh, it was Cambridge, Minnesota, I guess. Baron was there doing some autograph signings, so it's cool that he's still getting about.
I love Baron. I'm hoping he comes to the AWA reunion show, scheduled for September 29th up in Minneapolis. I would love to see him again.
Yeah, October 29th.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
October 29th. And I hope Adnan is well enough to be there too. I haven't seen Adnan since the show in Rochester.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, let me try to find that again just so I can put it out there.
I don't think there's a time and place yet, though. If
think
there is, I haven't been told.
I heard it was at the it's gonna be at the Bloomington Event Center. I forgot.
That's news to me. But
Yep.
Oh, okay. Oh, I should find that then. That's I know I just posted it recently. It's now Mick Karch just created a Facebook event for it, so it's or actually I'll find it in a bit. Jesse, I'll let you go.
Sure. So, did you ever wrestle Frankie DeValco otherwise in Rochester, or was that the only match that you guys had?
no, Frank's a Milwaukee guy who I helped train, and he worked on my shows. I mean,
Sure.
so I've wrestled him a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's running his own promotion now.
He's got Brew City Wrestling, and they run about once or twice a month, and they do pretty good.
Yeah. It seems they're doing pretty good with that. Eventually I want to get over there and see what it's all about. I know a couple independent wrestlers that go over there, so it seems pretty successful and good for the area. So
yeah, he sells out the VFW usually. I mean, he does 300-400 people at $15 a ticket. That's a pretty good night.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, for independents, usually that 10 to 20 mark, 15 is what he's doing, but it seems like, I mean, it's good, a good show for the whole family and just go out and watch some wrestling, and seems like it's doing pretty good. So yeah. I just found that post now. So the AWA reunion Saturday, October 29th, 12 p.m. And it's at the Bloomington Event Center in Minnesota. So
means I got to get up at 5 a.m. to get there.
Yeah.
It'll be just like going to do TV again.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, back to the roots now. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, good thing it's 4 hours too, so you could probably get there a little later if you wanted. But yeah, 12 to 4 p.m. It's very early.
That means I'll be home at a reasonable time.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Milwaukee to Minnesota, or Bloomington, Minnesota. That's definitely, was that a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours or something? Or how long?
330 miles.
330. Oh, okay. Yeah,
so it's
definitely
5.5. I mean, then we're gonna probably have to stop for breakfast and.
Yeah. 5.5 hours. That is a bit of a drive. Yeah. And it's Mick Karch is running it.
And he's too cheap to pay me trans to come up there. I'm hoping he hears that. So
we will remind him of that when we have him on, that he should pay your way.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, we'll try to save this clip somewhere and talk about that when we have him on. So yeah, what did I? Yeah, Mick Cart. Let me have that again. Yeah, we got Mick Karch on at the end of the month, guys. I just had it here.
Click Mick to you.
Yeah, Slick Mick Karch, and Midwest commentator of the since 1985. His whole spiel, he's doing that. But yeah, we got the voice of the Midwest professional wrestling since 1985 on October 28th, 8:30 p.m. Go watch that, guys. So yeah. Let me get my question. What did I have? Oh yeah, was looking in the book. It sounded like back in the 70s there was that nationwide 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. How were you able to go about that with the driving that you did?
Well, you kept a fuzz buster and you kept a CB antenna and you tried to go a little bit over the speed limit. One night I was with Chris Curtis and we were going through Des Moines and I looked over, and this is when we had the actual speedometer that went, but you could not see it. So it was past 120 as we were flying down the highway in Des Moines, and our fuzzbuster went off and Chris had us sliding down the highway. And later on that same trip, we were with a guy by the name of Woody. Woody got pulled over and ended up getting a ticket later.
Oh,
really ruined the day, but
mm-hmm.
But you did the best you could. You had longer trips, unless you were someone like Harley Race who would drive 120 on 2-lane highways.
Oh, there you go. Swerving through traffic and everything.
You know, something else no one will believe, but this was true. In Kansas City, my first Saturday night, because I had worked Thursday and Friday, I went to Des Moines and I went with Bob Geigel and Bob Brown. Bob Geigel was the promoter. And on the way back, I was driving Geigel's car, and Geigel says, pull into the median. So I pull in the median, and they pull shotguns out from under the seat. And they're out in the middle of the median strip trying to shoot feral cats because they say they eat the birds' eggs. Well, the car's coming the other way, and Bob Brown holds his gun up to the car. That car slid off the road. I assume my first week in Kansas City, I was going to jail. Nothing ever happened, but they would literally go through small towns and shoot cats on people's porches.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, it's pretty.
The little things that people didn't know we were doing.
Yeah. It's probably a big thing to hide from the public, I guess. But
I mean, I'll tell you a good Road Warriors story. When they came into work for Vern, I believe we were in Hammond, Indiana, the first night they were in. And when I heard they were coming in, I called Greg and I said, Greg, don't book me with them because I won't work with them. Well, what we had heard is when they were in Atlanta, they were told just to beat the shit out of the job guys. So I got a job. I'm not going up there to get hurt. So after the show, Hawk came up to me and he was, what the hell? He didn't use hell, he used the F word, but he says, who the hell are you not to work with us? I said, I'm a guy with a job. Well, 4 or 5 years later, when they came in to work for New York, when I got there and the name said LOD versus Stone and somebody. I think it was Eric Freedom, but I went, oh shit. So I went and found Animal, Joe, and I said, Joe, you got your chance tonight. He said, well, shit, you were smart not to work with us. We didn't have any idea how to work back then. So I got lucky.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, obviously, great tag team. It's interesting to hear stories about them, and obviously big stars. So yeah.
Have you guys talked in your podcast at all about Saito and Patera? And
yeah, I brought that up to Jeryn, who was that guy that we had on with Tom Burdick?
Oh, Rad Lightning.
Well,
Yeah,
anyways, he wouldn't know. I would, because I drove them.
really?
I drove them to Wausau that night, and I drove them back. And Ken said, "Do you want to go down to McDonald's?" I said, "I got to get up and go to work tomorrow." And I actually drove down to McDonald's and went through the drive-through and got something and left. And the next day I got to work and they say, "Did you hear all this stuff that happened at McDonald's?" And I hadn't heard it yet, but I was with them that night.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 days, or that was a Wednesday night, and Sunday we were in Green Bay. And Kenny came in and I started humming the McDonald's theme song. Kenny laughed about it. And then a week later, we were in Rockford. No, we were in Moline, Illinois. And I started doing that to Saito. And he did not take it as nice as Ken did. He said, "Wait till I get you in the ring next time. I hurt you bad." Well, you know, whenever that happened, you know when the next time was? It was usually about a week away.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't hurt me, and I had to drive him to Chicago for some stuff having to do with it, but they really got the bad end of the stick there because the cops could have handled it all different. The lady cop got scared and maced them both, and then she jumped on Saito's back, and he's maced, and he just took. I mean, they think that we can take you guys. These are two Olympic athletes. They're not two guys who do computer programming. They're Olympic athletes, and the cops are jumping on their back, and Saito just took the one and threw her against the wall. But the cops instigated that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll be a little political here, kind of like what our FBI is doing now to people like Mike Lindell and former presidents.
Yep.
Oh.
Which is sad that our country's gotten this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the same people who are doing that now, just getting off subject a little, what's going to happen if the other side takes control in 2024 and now they're the ones pulling the purse strings?
Right.
Not a good look for our country. Anyways, it's like today's wrestling, not a good look to guys like me. I don't know why anyone would do it today. When we did it, it was presumed to be an athletic competition. Now they know it's a work.
Yeah.
So if you're not cheering for, Billy Robinson against Nick Bockwinkel, what's really the point of going there unless you're hoping that someone will break their neck doing some triple thing off the top rope? I don't get it.
Yeah. There's definitely been a lot of that going around, and with because you have to top today what you saw yesterday. Well, there gets to be a point where there is no topping it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff is just like insane with how many flips they're doing.
I mean, they're great athletes. They're better athletes today than we were.
Yeah. It just makes sense. Yeah.
It's guys who are my age who did it when I did it. We're all crippled up. I mean, we still walk, but we still have issues. All of us have issues. And the issues those guys are going to have, I feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
Because the fun of doing it when we did it was calling everything in the ring. And I was told, you keep trying to do something to get a crowd reaction. So if I take you to the rope and I punch you and the crowds don't do anything, well, now I have you take me to the ropes and you punch me. And we're gonna find something they want to buy. Today they set up their whole match in the dressing room, and I see kids in the ring and they're clapping and the people are clapping with them and they stop clapping to go into the next thing they want to do. But if the fans want to clap with you, why don't you let them? That's what they bought their ticket for. So I don't get today's wrestling. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I definitely. I agree with that. And there's a especially yeah, like in a match, you want to keep track of what's going on, so you know what's going on, and you almost can't now. So it's kind of insane how it works, but it's glad some of these like smaller independent shows that we go to, they're doing a lot better job with, since they got like or like for example, like the Midwest here in Minnesota, there's a wrestler named Ken Anderson. He's training wrestlers not to do all that stuff, keep it focused, get with the crowd, and keep
Yeah,
selling.
but if you want to get to AEW or New York or their their new TN, the one they have in Florida where they train the guys,
And
you
that's
have to do that stuff.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, if you just want to work on the little local promotion and get $30 a show or whatever they're paying, okay.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because it's never going to go back. You
Mhm.
can't go back, right?
right.
It's like you can't go back to a 1957 Chevy.
Mhm.
There's too many advances that you
Mhm.
gotta go with the flow.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of wish we could go back then, because cars were a lot cooler back then, and now it's just like it's a computer on wheels, not cool design, just a little box. I don't even know what it is anymore. So
Yeah.
yeah, cars aren't cool anymore. Yeah. Uh, Looking in the Facebook comments here, Darren Davis is asking, Tom, where did you do the TV tapings for the AWA? Was that the Calhoun Beach Club or somewhere else?
It was at a TV studio when I started. And then when I came back, we were doing it at the Showboat. And then we were back at a TV studio. I mean, we did it a couple times. We did it in Hammond, Indiana one time. That was when Eddie Einhorn bought in. But that was when they were already going down the tubes. I know one of those TV tapings, it was a Texas Hangman against the Guerrero brothers, and I was the executioner. I was under a mask, and the Guerrero brothers, now that the Hangman were coming into work full time for Vern, and the Guerrero brothers didn't sell anything for the Hangman, but they sold for me. So it was real.
Man. Pretty special right there. So
Well, it's not special. I'm sure they were told by Greg and Vern to do that as a rib.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I mean,
yeah, probably a rib right there. So
yeah. I mean, I tell you another rib. The night I worked with Billy in Rockford, the girls were on the show. It was what was her name? Judy Martin. Who are the two Texas cowgirls? I know them. Can't think of their name. Two Amula's girls. And I'm in the shower in Rockford. And here come the girls to join me in the shower. I mean, they were nice. They didn't laugh. There was no laughter. So they were nice. Joyce Grable and Wendy Richter.
Yeah.
Wendy Richter. Oh, man. There you go.
So I got to shower with them.
Oh, man. Lucky guy. Yeah. Oh, man. The stuff that you guys don't hear, we're finally hearing, guys. Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to hear another story, this happened. Do you guys remember Herman Schaefer?
Yeah.
Herman the German. He was one night we did TV, and Herman got flown to some town in Nebraska. And he was at a high school, and I ended up in Mound, Minnesota that night, and I had to work with Buck, who I guess we're not allowed to talk about on your show, but nobody wants to talk about Buck. But Adnan Herman had this cape that his wife had made him out of a curtain. So it had the curtain pleats on the bottom. Well, he put the thing on, and Adnan found a bat in one of the lockers, and he stuffed in Herman's jacket. So as Herman went to the ring, his jacket was trying to fly away.
Oh,
So probably not as bad as Buddy Roberts, but
yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay. On Facebook. Oh yeah, Facebook right here. There's another podcast in the comments right here. They said, the Friends of the Squared Circle podcast. They said, finally able to catch a live. Keep up the great work. And then their question is, oh yeah, Jess, you want to say?
What's that? Oh, I said thanks.
Yeah. Thank you guys. So the Friends of the Squared Circle podcast, and they are asking, who do you think deserved the push in AWA that didn't get one?
Jake Milliman.
Oh yeah.
When when Jesse brought him on, that could have been one of the hottest deals. Jake could have been a big star.
Mm-hmm.
He just had a different look, and he was a good hand. And for a long time, he was my best friend. In fact, I just saw him, and I think he had cancer surgery yesterday. So hopefully that went well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But definitely prayers to him.
Other than that, I think the guys who got pushes were guys who deserved a push. I mean, I can't think of anyone who would have been great who didn't get a push. You guys did say earlier you wanted to do some name associations. You want to do those?
We definitely, yes.
Yeah.
I'll
do that, Jesse.
All right. All right. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna name a guy, and you're just gonna go ahead and tell us how you feel about them and their work ethic or whatever you want to say. So the first name I got for you is Nick Bockwinkel.
Nick was a champion. He conducted himself as a champion. He was my friend. He would let me work when we worked on TV together. I mean, he'd let me cover him, which we never did. But he was the true pros pro. I did get him one night though when I was timekeeping for my dad. Him and Billy were going to an hour draw, and I forgot to start the time clock till we got to about the 19-minute mark. Oh. He wasn't real happy that night when he kept walking by going, "How much time?" I said 10 minutes, and he knew he had already been in there for 30. But Nick was a true champion. I got nothing. I could say nothing bad about him.
Yeah.
Ray the Crippler Stevens.
My favorite wrestler of all time. And the guy who Nick Bockwinkel says is the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I only saw Ray later in his career because by the time he came to the AWA, he already was, I think he was already 36. But Nick says he was the best to ever lace up the boots.
Yeah, definitely.
Sergeant Slaughter.
I mean, a great gimmick. I remember him more as Mark II. I was in Kansas City at the time, and he was flying in to do spots. Him and Alfred. I mean, good guy. Good worker. Got nothing. Can't say anything bad about Slaughter.
Okay. Yeah.
Earthquake Ferris.
Don't really know him. I mean, I may have been on shows with him, but I don't really know him.
Sure.
Okay.
Greg Gagne.
Better than people give him credit for. He was actually one hell of a worker. And the people even believed him when he was fighting Blackwell.
Mhm.
So part of that was Jerry. You know, Jerry made him work to get him off his feet, but Greg was a hell of a hand,
Mhm.
and he treated me good. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Larry Sabisco.
Didn't really know Larry, even though I worked on shows with him.
Mhm.
Larry worked a lot like I did. You know, we were chicken shit heels,
Mhm.
and sometimes it was hard following him on a card, but I probably made it hard for him to follow me too, because we both did the same stuff.
Mhm.
But I didn't see him as a world champion, but I mean, I didn't see him as a great, the Zabisco they talked about in New York, I didn't see him here.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, they brought him in, they didn't do anything with him until after he married Vern's daughter or whatever. So
Oh,
he was
yeah.
basically an underneath guy when he was here.
Oh, okay. That's unfortunate.
Wildfire Tommy Rich.
I only worked him once. I worked him in Vegas. He was as light as Ray Stevens. I don't know if you guys know Ray Stevens. He never touched you. Even when he had a headlock on you, you had to keep a hand on him to make sure he was there.
Yep.
And Tommy Rich worked the same way. I mean, Tommy Rich, as a baby face, you can't knock what he did. I mean, he was a big star down in the Atlanta area.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Mr. Magnificent Kevin Kelly.
Kevin Kelly, I was lucky. I had him his first night in Milwaukee. It was me and Brad against him and Regal. That was his first match. And Vern said, "We haven't smartened him up yet. Don't talk to him."
Mhm.
Okay, this guy is 7 foot tall. He's 300 pounds, and I can't talk to him. Well, the first thing Regal did was go run my head into his knee, and he didn't leave his knee there for me to hit. He brought his knee up to meet my head.
Mhm.
Needless to say, I started talking to him. And we got back in the dressing room, and Vern was bitching, "You weren't talking to him out there." I said, "I did not say one word to him." And as I walked away, I said 150 words to him. Never much of a hand. I mean, he was. I mean, he wasn't much of a worker.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Jesse, before you go with another name, Friends of the Squared Circle are recommending a couple people, the Henning family. What are your thoughts on them?
Sure. I had a hard time working with Kurt. Kurt was so fast. He was faster than I was, and I was always a half step behind him. And I told Bachwinkle that one night, and Nick said, I said, "Can you tell him to slow down so I can keep up with him?" He said, "No, you have to go faster." Well, I'm sorry. I'm going as fast as I can go. I mean, Kurt ended up being a hell of he was a hell of a talent. Larry, I saw Larry more when I was a quote unquote fan. And I thought he was hilarious in the ring. One night he did a deal where he got mad in the ring, and this guy's 300 pounds, right? He got mad, and he grabbed the top rope, and he's kicking his feet, and he kicked the bottom rope, and he hurt his foot. And I mean, I was in tears watching him. He was hilarious. And him and Lars with their "We have the secret." No one ever found out what that secret was. Still trying to find out to this day. I was supposed to wrestle Larry one day, but Olsenowski had an illness, and so I had to wrestle Brad. And they put Woodrow Wilson in with Larry, and Woody grabbed the headlock, and Larry stood up, and Woody's feet were dangling in the air like a cartoon dance. And I was standing in the back with Bobby Heenan, and Heenan goes, "Way to get sympathy, Larry." And me and him and Brunzel were laughing our asses off. I never wrestled Larry, so I can't. But he was. I found him to be hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And there's one more thing. Stephen Harvick, NCL Pro Wrestler, says, "Fellas, keep killing it." Thank you. We appreciate that, Stephen / Jackson Black. So yeah. All right, Jesse.
Marty Jannetty.
I liked Marty. We were friends. I worked with him and Sean a lot. I did not know he had all the addiction problems he had. I hope he's doing better.
Yes.
I know I've seen him on some podcasts where one of his ankles is basically shot.
Yep.
Like walks on the side of his ankle. I like Marty. I like Sean. I got along good with both of them. I worked him for Vern. I worked him for Vince. They were real good.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, that's all I got for the Inane Association.
Okay. Yeah. I'll go with something. Yeah, in the book you were talking about the NWA Kansas office / the Heart of American Sports. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Well, when I went there, the territory was terrible. We were making $300 a week, and that's if we were lucky enough to get a St. Louis show here and there. You get $40 to go to Wichita, which was a 360-mile round trip. And we always said when we were down there, we said, if someone told you there was $40 in Wichita, would you drive there to get it? And none of us would have driven there to get it. I mean, it was a good starting place. There was no pressure. When I started there, Bob Sweetan was the booker. When Jody Hamilton came in is when they shipped me off to work for Bill Watts in Louisiana. Their top guy was Bob Brown. Frank Hill was actually on top chasing the belt that Sweetan had. But we didn't have real good talent, and nobody was making any money. In fact, later on, I'd go down there when I was working every weekend for Vern. I'd still do TV for Bob. And Dewey Robertson was there, who became the missing link. And I would love to go up to him and let him know that, yeah, I made $400 last weekend working for Vern. I maybe only made $2, but I embellished it because I knew what he was making just to tick him off.
Oh, man.
It was a short trip territory. You were home every night. So it was a good learning experience. I mean, that's where Marty and Sean got their start. I mean, a lot of the guys started there to get their foot in the door.
Yeah, definitely. Facebook right here, the Friends of the Squared Circle podcast are asking, did you work any other promotions after the AWA? And a little bit, but
while I was working for the AWA, I started in St. Louis, and then a week later I went to, this is probably 77 or 78, that I did the AWA. And then for a couple of years, I was doing St. Louis, Kansas City, and AWA, but it was really only TV matches, right? And then I decided to go to Kansas City, and I went there, and then I went to Mid-South, and then I came home, and then I started working for Vern, and then I was still doing St. Louis and Kansas City, and then New York called because Terry Garvin, who had been in the Kansas City office, was the guy booking the TV talent for New York. So I was kind of working for all different, and I was still running my own stuff locally in Milwaukee. So, and I was working for some other, I worked for Bruiser once, but I really didn't want to work for Bruiser because Bruiser, the way he would pay people was he'd say, hey kid, I'll catch you next time.
Mhm.
Well, he didn't tell me that he paid me, but I really didn't want to work for Dick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I kind of worked for a lot of different promotions, all kind of at the same time.
Oh, it was all together.
I mean, and I asked Greg when New York called, I called Greg and said, Greg, New York called, and he knew they were going down, they were ending. I mean, he knew. He said, go do what you got to do. But he still booked me. And I still booked his TV talent. So I'm booking TV talent for 2 different promotions.
Oh, wow. It's definitely a lot of work right there. So, I mean, if you're able to do it, it was definitely really cool. But yeah, definitely.
Mind if I put in a plug for my book?
Sure.
Yeah.
If people want to go to Amazon, I have a book, talks about the stories in Kansas City and the AWA and on my local shows and out for New York and down in Mid-South. It's on Amazon. It's both a Kindle and it's a soft cover book. And I don't think I have a copy of it anywhere. I might. Yeah, here it is. It's called Professional Wrestling, the Theater of the Absurd. And it's like $6 on Kindle, and it might be 15 on Amazon. And there are a lot of good stories. The people, I wrote it just to keep the stories alive, because hell, I ain't going to be that much longer. So, and they were the stories we told in the cars, and it's an easy read. You can read it in one day. And
Yeah, for sure.
and for anyone coming to Mick's show, I'm not going to have any copies of them, so you'll have to get them on Amazon. So don't wait.
Oh, yeah. So guys, go get that book from Amazon, Professional Wrestling,
the Theater of the Absurd.
Okay.
And I actually had a shirt at one point that said that I wore when I was in Kansas City, and Bob Geigel did not like it. Neither did Pat O'Connor.
He didn't like your he didn't like that you just what it said, or just didn't like that
I
you
don't like the fact that I had a shirt that said Theater of the Absurd.
Oh, the wording. Yeah.
And that was when we were still in kayfabe territory. You know, we protected the business. I mean, when we would go, and I'd be driving with Bob Brown there, and we'd stop to get something to eat on the way to a town, he would actually pull around to the back, let me off in the back. He'd sit in the car for 15 minutes. I'd go in and eat. Then he'd come in as I was leaving.
Oh, okay.
I mean, so we protected the business.
Yeah, definitely. And
the other thing the kids today don't learn, when we were learning, we spent our driving time learning how to wrestle. You would drive with a Heenan or a Bockwinkel, or down in South, I would travel with Stephen Littlebear, and we would talk wrestling and how to wrestle and how to be good. And now the kids sit in the car, and you know what they do? They sit on their damn phone texting. How do you learn how to wrestle? Texting.
Yeah, that's true.
We spent 3-hour trips going over matches and how to call a match and how to learn. But today they don't.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, and they're even playing video games.
It is. Vince gave it away, but at the same time, with the internet, everyone would have found out anyways. So Vince did it to protect his business, and it changed the whole business stuff.
Right.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about that with Dr. Darren Davis last Friday about how Vince just kind of exposed the business just so he could run in that area, or that.
Well, he didn't want to pay. He didn't want to pay commissions anymore.
Or pay commission. That's right. Yeah.
He didn't want to pay commissions. I can't blame him, and he could see the writing on the wall. The business was so different when it was territories, because you could go work in Kansas City, do jobs. And he could go to Memphis and be a star because people in Memphis had never seen you. Once it became national, once you're on the show, you're on the show. They've seen you.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So once I did jobs for New York or AWA when they were on ESPN, there was no going anywhere else. Everyone had already seen it. Not that I didn't want to do it anymore. I was happy working at the electric company and having a pension and healthcare plan. And so.
Yeah.
Puppy dog. Yeah. And especially with today, like social media, I can just like scroll one time and they'll be like, this guy was spotted outside this restaurant, and they're like so many just horrible blogger news sites that try to expose stuff. And
well, everything is negative on the internet. Let's be honest, right?
I mean, that is true.
Everything on Twitter is meant to get into a fight, which is why I don't even have a Twitter account.
It's probably the best. I have Twitter. I just don't like that form of social media, but I got like Instagram and Facebook. And
well, you guys have to do it for your podcast.
Right.
I mean, that's true. Yeah. Do that and see what's going on in wrestling, but it's just Twitter. I know Twitter's probably one of the worst because that's just type and text and everything. So yeah. Social media and wrestling, that's a combination together that's kind of bad, but I don't know. It's probably not going to get any better with that though. So we have to.
Well, it is a good way for a guy to promote himself, right?
Right.
Matt Winchester can go on his Facebook thing and say if there are any promoters who need talent, I'm looking to work. I just moved down to Nashville. So you can use it to your advantage.
Promotions, that's definitely a good thing. But when you're like exposing news and they're like, this guy did this, and then that's when it comes bad. But obviously promoting probably the easiest way for wrestlers to get out there instead of like finding a phone number somewhere and calling.
Nowadays, when you're in any of those platforms, you don't know what's true and what isn't.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if it's just something I can make something up.
Yeah.
I can say, geez, you got caught stealing at the local. Once it's out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with like, I don't know, there's like the people are like, oh, or what was I gonna say this? Yeah, I guess, it's pretty much summing up what you said. You can say anything on the internet, someone will believe it, and especially these bloggers. There's like these blogger sites that are like, CM Punk is never going to return this AEW company. I'm like, it's not even official news yet, and they're like, oh, it's not going to happen. And we can have thoughts on it, but it's just like
you don't know in the wrestling business if anything is real.
Yeah,
they do it.
They never know.
They try to get extra publicity. Does he need time off to have a knee scoped, or does he have an injury? Nobody knows that, right? So all of a sudden in 6 months he comes back, and then you can shoot some kind of angle to bring him back where he wants to take over part of the company, and my dog is trying to get in the picture.
Yeah, he's just like, woo.
He wants to go out again. Anyways,
Yeah. Jesse?
I think that's about all that I have for Tom. It was a very interesting conversation. Was glad to get him on the show and was glad to get to talk to him.
Well, it was fun being on. I hope I gave you guys a few insights. Quiet.
Yeah.
So I guess at this point, I'm going to go let my dog out, and I'm going to say goodnight.
All right.
Thanks for having me on, and maybe we'll see you on the 29th.
Sure.
Yeah. October 29th, AWA reunion. I'll post more of that. Go check it out, fans. So.
And I know Brad Riggins is supposed to be there, and I know Steve Olszanowski is supposed to be there. Those are the two I have heard of that are confirmed.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
two jobbers from Milwaukee, Chris Curtis and Tom Stone. And maybe Jake
yeah.
is feeling better.
All
Mhm.
right.
Yeah. All right. Darren Davis says thanks for the stories, Tom. So definitely awesome to have you on, and maybe we'll see you on the 29th or keep in contact. So
I will definitely be there on the 29th, barring illness or something.
okay. Sounds good. All right. You have a nice night, Tom.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, fans, we are ending the live. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you Friday. We got Alex Finley on, so have a nice night, guys. All right, live is ending. Almost there.